Hi, Desiree here from FACE. This video is meant to address my personal experiences with body contouring in the realms of liposuction and Coolsculpting and Cryoskin, and kind of compare and contrast from a personal experience. Also, I am a provider of cryoslimming, cryoskin, cryoslimming. So there's that. So I do have provider experience as well. In terms of my background, my experiences with these things, also with some other medical aesthetic procedures, have kind of led me down my career path to pursue a medical degree as a family nurse practitioner, which I am currently doing. So anyhow, I'll start with lipo. I got smart lipo a number of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and it's like pretty congruent with just lipo, and that is one of the pros, I think, of getting that treatment for body contouring, is that you can lose a lot of fat all at one time, and so that's amazing. You can lose a lot of volume. The cons, in my personal experience and also my experience noticing my clients that I'm trying to correct lipo with cryoslimming, is that one of the cons is that you can get denting. So there can literally be like divots in the skin where more fat was suctioned out and less on the other side. So like kind of valleys. And I have those both in my thighs and my stomach, and that sucks. And I've been working with cryoslimming to get rid of those for a while, and it's gone down quite a bit. But that's a real risk. And so in my providership, I also see slim women who've gotten lipo, and I've seen their skin. I don't know what you can do after that. As far as I know, there's nothing you can do. The skin being like really rippled. In my opinion, it looks a little bit better on thicker bodies, the damage from lipo, than it does on really slender bodies, because the thicker body can kind of absorb it a little bit. But I've seen it also in thicker bodies and tried to correct the valleys, the peaks on the side that can look super unnatural from lipo. So that's a con in my experience with lipo. Another con with lipo is the damage that, I don't know that it gets talked about that much, but lipo damages your lymphatic system something major, and it takes a long time to rebuild. And then the healing. So for me, the healing probably took over a year. I have felt like nerve pain occasionally for at least a year, but obviously you need to wear a compression garment for, in my case, I wore it 24 hours a day for 3 months, and it was so painful. But no pain, no gain. I'm down with that, or in this case, loss. I'm down with that if I get the results. I did lose the fat, but I also got all this weird, unnatural, weird valleys in my fat, which doesn't look good. The third con is that it's an invasive medical procedure, and so you have all the risks of like infection and stuff like that when you actually open the skin. So, and it's expensive. That is lipo in a nutshell from my experience. The second one I'll tackle is Coolsculpting. I did a number of rounds of Coolsculpting. In my opinion, it bears a lot of similarities to cryoslimming, and that it's using cold to cause the death of a fat cell, or death of many fat cells. And anyhow, so Coolsculpting, I also had success with Coolsculpting, so that's a pro. It works. You will need to do multiple sessions. I did do a couple. I probably could have done a lot more, but it was more than I wanted to budget for. And the main things that happen with Coolsculpting that I've seen in my practice are that there's shelving around the area where fat loss was achieved. So you have to fit into like a pre-sized suction cup, and in whatever area where you're getting the body contouring or fat loss, and everything that's around it, and there's like a kind of a harsh delineation, everything that's around it doesn't lose any fat, but what's suctioned up does lose fat. And so that can create a kind of shelving that I've worked with many clients with the cryoslimming to try to correct. So that's kind of a con, or that's a con. And then another issue is issues around nerve damage, which are, you know, somewhat common. You can read all about them on The Real Self, or at least several years ago when I was reading about it, you could. And I've had clients who've also done cryoslimming with describe that nerve damage as the most painful thing they've ever experienced in their life. And then obviously there's the PHA that Linda Evangelista recently experienced, and you can read about that separately if you want to. That there's known cases of that with cryoslimming, so that's great. So, all right, so I'm on to cryoslimming, which again, I do provide. What I love about cryoslimming, one of the main ways where I think it shines is in the 3.0 machines, which is the type that I use in my offices, is it's manually operated, and you can operate anywhere where there's pinchable fat. It doesn't have to fit into a predetermined size cup. You're not going to affect the, you're not going to cause the infection potential of the surgical lipo. You're not going to damage or like suction up things that you don't want to suction up. You can feather the edges. So let's say you wanted to do like chin or arm, you can focus in the main area, right, that where you want fat loss, but you can kind of transition the edges out. So it's a real natural look, which is amazing, and you don't cause internal damage to the body. There's not the risk of PHA. There's not the nerve damage. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of education that goes into how to work with your body and what really to expect. And something I didn't find in my experiences with lipo, I thought the healing time was seriously undersold, completely incongruent with what I experienced. And to some extent, but not as radically with Coolsculpting. So my experience, my 2 cents, I'm Team Cryoskin. I'm proud to be a provider of Cryoskin. I'd love to hear your experience and ask any questions that you want. Okay, peace.